Hello and welcome to the night sky for March 2025. I'm Adam from the Wellington Astronomical Society, and tonight we're going to have a look at the moon phases, including the lunar eclipse that's happening this month. We'll have a look at what's happening with the planets as well, and we'll finish off with our usual night sky stellarium tour. Let's get started. Starting with our moon phases, so we have our first quarter moon on the 7th, our full moon on the 14th, and also on the 14th we have a total lunar eclipse happening. Then we go into last quarter on the 22nd, and then the new moon on the 29th. Now let's talk about the lunar eclipse for a moment. So the lunar eclipse is what happens when the moon passes into the Earth's shadow. So New Zealand is in the partially visible zone for this eclipse, meaning we won't see all of it. But what will happen is on the evening of the 14th of March, the moon will rise fully eclipsed, and then from about 8:30 p.m. For about 75 minutes or so, the shadow will slowly move off it as per the animation on the bottom right here. Now, the Astronomical Society will be holding an event at Space Place on the evening of 14th of March for eclipse viewing. We'll have the telescopes out, so check our Facebook page in the events section for details on that. Now, looking at what's happening with the planets this month, so we have the parade of planets that's been all over the news and various other places. In fact, not all of these planets are particularly visible. However, the best ones to look at is on the 8th of March, we'll have Mercury at its greatest elongation, which means that the visual separation between the Sun and Mercury is greatest on that date. So look for Mercury low on the western horizon at dusk. Don't confuse it with Venus. Venus is a lot brighter than Mercury. Jupiter and Mars remain visible below Orion in similar positions to last month. And Uranus is also viewable. It's near to Matariki, although you'll need a telescope to see it because it's very faint and very distant. Okay, so let's have a stellarium tour of the night sky and see what we can see.
Well, here we are looking north on the evening of the 20th of March, which is last quarter, and it's 9 p.m. The night sky looks fairly similar to the view that we had here last month, of course. We're going to be focusing on naked eye or binocular targets once again, and we're going to limit ourselves to targets which are magnitude 5 or brighter, so you stand a good chance of being able to see those in binoculars. Starting at Jupiter then, we can see that it's fairly bright here and low on the northern horizon. And at this particular moment, if we zoom into Jupiter, we can see that in fact all of its moons are lined up on one side. Now if you make a straight line to Mars, which you can also see here, then go about halfway back to Jupiter, there you will find star cluster M35. Let's zoom into that and take a look. The red outer ring shows the field of view that you would get in a pair of 10 by 50 binoculars, such as the ones we sell here at WAS. If you don't have any, we've got some in stock at the moment, so come and see us afterwards. Another star cluster nearby is M44, right in the heart of Cancer, the crab. To find it, head to Mars, and then just take the first right. At opposition this month is the constellation Virgo, in which the brighter star is Spica. So let's just advance the time a little bit here, and then you can see it's rising just alongside the moon, in fact. Now, owing to the position of this star, and also its spectra, you'll often see this one appearing to twinkle, so that's an easy way of identifying it. It's fairly conspicuous, and it's a good naked eye star. Now let's change to the following day, 21st of March, and go into the early morning, 4:45 a.m. This one's interesting because we're going to have a lunar occultation. This is where the moon passes in front of a fairly bright and visible star. So as I advance the time forward here, you can see the star Antares, which of course is a naked eye, red giant star, quite visible. And it just dips into the edge of the moon, gets occluded by the moon for a while, and then comes back out the other side. Lunar occultations are always interesting. It's a good idea to keep an eye out for when they're happening, because sometimes, depending on the position of things, you can even get some of the outer planets like Jupiter or Saturn occluded by the moon.
And now to finish up, I want to show you something that I've previously shown, but it would, given that we've got a few new members who probably haven't seen this, it's always worth repeating. And this is how to find south using the stars. A little bit more difficult in the southern hemisphere than the north, because in the northern hemisphere, of course, they have the pole star and the Big Dipper constellation that helps them find it. Here, we have to be a little bit more creative. So you can see here, we're looking due south, and I've turned on the north-south line, the meridian line, so we can easily see which way is south. And we can see we've got the 2 pointer stars and the Southern Cross there. So what we want to do is draw an imaginary line between the 2 pointer stars like this, and then extend a right angle from that outwards. So you can see we've just done that, closest to the first of the 2 pointer stars. Now, the long axis of the actual Southern Cross itself, we're going to extend a line through that as well. Now, where those two lines meet, you can see it's very close to the South Celestial Pole there. And if you drop down to the ground from that point, there is south. Now, that little trick works no matter what time of the night or what time of the year you do it.